This has been years. How are you doing at this point? This is still going on in terms of legally.
Yeah, not good, to be honest. I did go to California for college for 2 years, but I ended up having to come back home because I just really needed the support of my family and to try to regroup before I go back and pursue the rest of my degree.
So did this stop once you were out of high school?
To me, yes. It got worse for my younger sister.
And how much younger is she than you?
3 years.
Okay. And what year did she graduate?
This past year, 2018.
Okay. And what year did you graduate?
2016.
Okay. Just reading this complaint, I mean, can you talk a little bit about what you went through after the alleged assault happened? How did you know that things were all of a sudden troubling for you around school?
On my way to school one morning, people just started tweeting that, like, hundreds of students were tweeting that I was a liar and I was a slut just for not wanting to be raped. Hashtag transfer was the campaign. They didn't want me there, they didn't believe me, and they wanted the rapists to come back and play football for them. Because they're both starting players on their varsity football team, and that is something that's extremely important to Skyline.
How were you bullied? How did you see people bullying you?
I would get stares, people I didn't even know, never even heard of, say that they hate me. I got drugs planted on me, put in my backpack to try to get me expelled. I had a bomb thrown at my house that shattered the window. The bomb skull needed to come out. In the middle of the night, even one of the football coaches was tweeting, that, like, preach, she needs to leave, like, we need to get our boys back.
How did it make you feel?
Crushed. There are just, like, no words to describe the amount of pain going to the high school every single day, where knowing mass amounts of people hate you. I had already been physically assaulted by 2 students. I didn't know what they were capable of. They were yelling and swearing at me, calling me a whore, just leaving the classroom, passing people. It was terrifying. From the moment that I was raped, I just felt something just leave my body, and I just felt like I have been a shell ever since.
And I know this might be hard, but can you take me back to that situation and help me understand what happened when you were violated?
Yeah, I was going over to my boyfriend's house in the morning. It was the weekend before my birthday, and his friend had spent the night. I did not know he was there, and it was just us in the house, and I guess Taven, he invited Bo into the room and did not accept my nose. I even said I do not consent, and they raped me.
Both the boys did?
Yeah.
And one was I'm kind of not following it, Bo, and was he your boyfriend at the time?
No, Taven was, and he held me down while his friend raped me.
Oh, I'm so sorry. How long had you been dating Taven?
Since May, and this happened in October, so a few months.
What happened after that?
This happened on a Saturday, and the next Thursday, so 4 days later, we reported it to the police. The next day, with a King County Sexual Assault Resource Center, they had an advocate that went with us to the courthouse to file a sexual assault protective order, that was granted immediately. So the following Monday, the boys were not allowed in school, and that's when the harassment started, because it was apparent.
And did you ever go to police at all?
About the harassment?
About the rape?
Oh, yeah, we did that a Thursday night before I went to file the sexual assault protective order. They both pled guilty.
So they readily admitted it?
Yeah.
Well, a couple months
later.
Yeah. They pled guilty, yes.
Wow. My God. And I mean, just reading the court document, hearing about the increasing harassment, when your family became a target, do you want to talk about that night when they came to your home? When I think I read fireballs, and then at another point there were explosives involved. What was that?
I couldn't even tell you why people would do that to us. It forever changed my family, the family dynamic. We will just never be the same. We had to move from our childhood home because the attacks were so bad. They happened every weekend. It's one thing for me to have my body violated, horrific, and then I can't even have my safe place, my home. There's nowhere for me to go. I get attacked at school, I get attacked in my home. There's no safe place for me to go.
And it sounded like at one point you sought safety through the school district. Can you take me back to the very beginning of that? When was the first point when you went to, an administrator, a teacher, and shared what was going on?
My mom talked to my school counselor before I even went to the police. She encouraged me to report it because she said, I don't think that Jennifer could live with herself if she didn't say something. They wanted to make it appear as if they were being helpful. I went to them with every tweet, harassment, dirty look, swear word, vandalization, and everything that they said that they were doing to try to prevent it. It was all protected. They couldn't tell me because of, for the other students, confidentiality, which I found out was a lie. They lied about being able to ban the rapists from the football games once the restraining order expired, which also was a lie. They didn't do anything.
How did you feel after all that? I can't even imagine.
I grew up with a very idealistic view of the world. I was fortunate enough to grow up in a place where we thought was safe, and my worldview was completely shattered. The adults that were supposed to help me, that's their job. It's not like they're supposed to do it out of the goodness of their heart. That's their job. They're paid to do, and they helped the rapists.
So when that protective order expired, were you able to get another one, an extension on it, or anything like that?
Well, I wasn't the lawyer involved.
Okay.
She had already left. It expired after she graduated. So basically, and I don't know what the decision was because she was no longer at the school on why no one else went in to get a renewal. But here's the problem too, is it was just now the sister, Jennifer, getting harassed, who wasn't the victim of the sexual assault. So they may not have been able to get a court order. But at that point, I think it's in your packet, there's emails with the mom saying, we don't trust you guys. It doesn't matter what we do. It doesn't matter even if we have a court order. You guys are protecting rapists over our daughter. So they pulled her out.
I mean, the fact that this district, if these guys readily admitted to this, and I'm assuming were convicted of this crime.
They pled guilty, and it's in the paperwork.
Was that juvenile court?
Yes.
So those records are sealed?
Those are, but we have copies because she was the victim. So you do have a copy of the guilty
Where
plea.
is that? I did not get that.
Thumb
Is
drive.
it on the thumb drive? Okay.
On the thumb drive.
Gotcha.
And we might have some paper copies we can give
That'd
you.
be great.
Okay.
From your legal perspective, the fact that this school district did not protect a student who was clearly in danger, I mean, when you first heard about this case and looked at the details, what was your reaction?
I couldn't believe it because it wasn't just failure to protect. It was actively participating in trying to drive a sexual assault victim out of their school. It was actively, proactively protecting assailants with no investigation while basically throwing the victim to the wolves in the halls of the school until I saw the documents, until I took depositions in a similar case, until I got admissions. As a lawyer who's been doing this 28 years, I am stunned about what happened. And I would like to see the Issaquah School District learn a lesson, which is children are more important than football. Safety is more important than wins. You have a job to do. You're paid to do it. Protect the children that the parents have entrusted into your care.
So that one document where it's got handwriting on it saying
Oh.
keep the order in under lock and key, basically in the
Yes.
principal's. Is that the principal's handwriting?
Yes. I learned that through a deposition in a similar case. I was allowed to use that document in this case because it's part of a public court filing. I have many other documents I can't yet share, but that was Principal Hood's own handwriting. Lock and key, Hood's office only. That did two things. It prevented the rest of the administrators to know that they were supposed to be on the lookout for these guys in case they showed up. It also prevented any future school from knowing about the risks they posed, which is against the law. You're supposed to forward that information so additional schools can take safety steps. That email also shows where she authorized letters of recommendation for these assailants. And by the date of that, you can see this is before there had been a full investigation by anyone. That's scary.
And yet they knew about what had gone on.
Yes, yes. They had the court orders. They had the counselor who heard about it. They knew everything. But they put their efforts into protecting the athletes.
I mean, just your reaction to that. I mean, the fact that this is being hung on the hat of football is shocking. What did this principal have to gain? That's what I don't understand. Was it that valuable? Did you feel like this was 100% about football?
Yeah, and or at least it made it very clear that men are more valued than women. And it's my right to go to school to get an education and to do that in a safe environment. And if we can't make that happen in this country, how is that supposed to happen in any other country?
What was it like for you to watch your sister then going through this?
That was extremely painful. I'm her big sister. I felt like I had let her down. I know this isn't my fault, but I feel like I brought so much pain into my family, and she was bullied by the people who are in charge of the school that she had to leave all of her friends and graduate in somewhere else. And I wanted to do that, but I couldn't, because if I left school, that means the boys could come back, play football, and graduate with their friends. And I did not want that to be the message for the next girl who came forward. I didn't want it to be, I got ran out of town and the boys came back. I wanted it to be, I said something, I stood my ground, I graduated here, they didn't. I just want it to be better for the next girl, and that's what this lawsuit is about, because something similar happened to a girl at Skyline once I left, and they're handling it just horrifically. And then that's when I knew that nobody else is going to do anything about this, and I am in a unique position to do something about this, and I can't not do that. Because if somebody would have said something before me, maybe I wouldn't be in this position. I would give anything to go back and have this not happen to me. I mean, this has completely changed the course of my life.
Yeah, this happened 6 years ago. Do you still have to face this every day?
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole reason I came back from college. I have panic attacks in open spaces. How am I supposed to trust people? I mean, someone I thought I was so close to, I mean, held me down. So this friend could rate me, watch, and he's fine.
How are your parents coping with this? Because I keep thinking, as a parent, I can't imagine the pain they are going through seeing their children deal with this.
It's changed my mom forever. She has definitely been there, been supporting, been on the front lines. She is the definition of a mama bear. Nobody is going to mess with the kids. You know, she's in there, you know, fighting for, you know, my right to a safe education, and she wanted to help them, you know, have new policies for consent in their health classes. She really wanted to work and create that with them, but they had no interest in that. And
can you talk a bit about the type of damages you're seeking from the Issaquah School District over this? I understand why you want to do this, and I respect you tremendously for it, but what is reality?
The reality is what a jury returns. We want, my orders from my young clients is to have the story told and have it judged by the citizens through the jury process, and have them render the right judgment that sends the right message.
Anything else you want to share with us? Any stone, I mean, there's so much here, but we're on limited time. Is there anything else that perhaps we haven't talked about that you really want to share?
I would just say, for the next girl, it's extremely hard and life-changing, but you have to come forward. It's the only way things are ever going to change. And I know it's difficult. It's changed my life. And there, on bad days, I wish I never, you know, came forward. And on good days, I wish I would have fought harder. But, you know, the reality is this is what needs to be done if we're going to change. Because I'm not satisfied with the way things are right now. They're not good.
Was the lawsuit filed today?
Yes. Actually, last night, technically today, though.
What's the next step for you guys legally?
We are going to ask the court to order the district to cough up the records they've been hiding.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Have you seen this before? Districts just hiding records and not delivering when they're a matter of public record?
I've seen it happen. Well, the school records are not public record.
Oh, okay.
So these are not public records
Okay.
requests. These are their school records that they're entitled to by law.
Okay.
I've not seen that before. So we'll have a judge decide whether they can.
Can you just briefly talk about what is it that you want from those records? Just documentation of the increased bullying and harassment, if it's even documented?
Well, two things. One is I had another lawsuit where a lot of those documents came forward that I cannot share because those are part of that suit because they weren't public.
This same one or a total different case?
What happened here? Because
Okay.
we see this pattern of placating male athletes over women. But what I want to see is what's not there, because I know it's not there, because I would have seen it. I want them to show me, what did you do to protect these young women? And it's going to be a big fat 0, because we already know. But I want to be able to show that to a jury. We ask, prove what you did. Oh, not a single document, not a single email, not a single letter, not a single step taken to protect young women by law you're supposed to protect. That's what I'm looking for.
And these folks here, are they still working for the district?
Oh, Donna Hood got promoted after this.
Where's she at now?
She's now in charge of all the school principals.
Oh, wow. What about these? Yeah, that's what I understand. And how long were you at Eastside Catholic? I can't remember the exact dates.
A year and a half.
Okay. Is there anything, I don't know if you have any direct questions, I guess I'm just,
Go ahead.
you know, how has this changed your life when at the end of the day you really had nothing to do with this?
It really has changed my life. If I had to do it over again, I would. I would do anything for my sister, to see the pain that she has gone through, to see the way that this has changed her, to see what she has gone through. It breaks my heart. I wish there was more I could do to take that pain away from her. And I know it has impacted our whole family, which makes it even harder for her because there is so much love between all of us. And she's the bravest woman I've ever met.
Did you want to talk about what happened to you at the football game?
When you were cheering, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Not to direct it, but we have a little time.
Appreciate it.
I was a junior. I cheered at Skyline. I absolutely loved it. That is how I identified myself. When people asked me, like, who are you? It's like, oh, I cheer. Like, that was really what I loved so much. So it was the first football game after the protective order had expired. And one of my sister's rapists and his father showed up at the game. They started harassing me, taunting me, staring at me. Of course, I was scared and I was crying, and I asked the assistant coach if I could leave, and she told me, no, you have a job to do. You need to get back on your box and keep cheering. And my mom wanted to come down and get me and take me away from all of this, and the principal threatened to have her taken out in handcuffs and have her arrested. To see people that were supposed to protect me turn against me, I don't even have words for it, for how scared and lonely that feels. And then the vice principal, the person that my sister and I always went to when kids would harass us, I saw her walk in and I thought, you know, maybe this is going to be okay. I had an ounce of hope, thinking, you know, maybe they'll ask him to leave. But then she hugged him and welcomed him to the school with open arms, and they gave him cookies, and that was a tipping point for me. I was like, I can't be here anymore. Like I don't feel safe. This is not okay. So for the next 2 months, I stayed at home. I didn't go to school. I used my teacher's websites to learn material, and then my mom would take me into school, and I would take all my tests there, and as soon as I could, I transferred schools. And not once when I was home did anyone from the school ask me how I'm doing, ask me if I need any help. When I said I don't feel safe, they said, well, we can give you a parking spot in the visitor section if that helps. And that was it.
Brush your hair off the microphone. Yeah, perfect.
Wow, and how are you doing now?
Because part of me leaving was my decision, I have been able to move on with my life and to find happiness. I think the hardest part is knowing that my sister hasn't, that she is still struggling every single day with this. All I want is for her to be happy and for her to feel at peace with her life, because it's been 6 years and there hasn't been a day of peace in her life. I have found my happiness, and I just want that for her.
Are you a college student now? Are you working full-time? Okay.
I am a college student. I attend the University of Puget Sound.
Oh, nice. Beautiful campus.
Yeah, I love it so much.
Awesome.
So when you were able to leave the school then on your terms, did that give you a sense that you were finally starting to take some power back in this situation that your entire family has, from the way I gather it, has felt powerless?
Yeah. It felt really powerful, and when I left Skyline, I really had no faith in humanity. I felt like there were no good people left in this world, and being able to transfer to a school that has such amazing values amongst their student body it just reminded me that there is good, and it really changed my life. Skyline, it destroyed my family in every single way. Every single way. We walked out of there defeated. I mean, my sister's just completely torn apart from it, and I don't know when she won't be.
Yvonne, is there anything more you would like to add? I mean, there's so much we could talk about, but you've said some really important things. Anything more that you want the public to know about this case?
I think that we've talked about sexual assault in the NFL and at the colleges. We need to now start talking about it in the high schools.
Are you and your sister or your family going through any kind of counseling therapy?
Mm-hmm. Always.
A lot of it.
After that, I don't think there's enough therapy in the world to get through that. Just kind of every day at a time, one day at a time. So I think it's really important to start talking about it in high schools because, yes, my sister came forward, but there's so many girls that haven't. There's so many girls that are going through the exact same thing that she went through because no changes are being made. I mean, what she went through, no one should ever have to go through that. I mean, it's just appalling.
And the way you said so many girls tells me it's a pretty widespread problem.
It is. It is. It's a lot bigger than people think. A lot of people don't acknowledge it, and a lot of girls don't come forward because, I mean, after seeing what my sister went through, why would you want to? Why would you want to go through that? Which is scary.
Sexual assault or the bullying and harassment or all?
All.
We're aware of specific cases in Skyline High School that have been happening of sexual assault by athletes, including on campus, where there is no discipline imposed, with police investigations.
Are they currently in legal?
Some of them are currently going through the criminal process. Some of them I can't yet talk about because I've learned about them in another case and it's sealed, but eventually will come out.
Gotcha.
Oh, we know of numerous cases of sexual assault by athletes at Skyline High School covered up by the district.